So from what to wear to how to be deadly. And who am I to judge Buddy's fashion sense, but when the votes were counted, it was Donnie Dumphy who took home the Audience Choice Award for Best Feature. How to Be Deadly is a hero's journey with a Newfoundland twist, because on the East Coast, you're only as good as your last story.
What day of the week do you think it is, Donald?
Check day, so Thursday.
Friday. And what year?
1980.
2014. Okay.
Deadly. Let's go.
Donnie's been an internet favorite for years now, and after over 1 million YouTube views of Having a Time, director and co-writer Nik Sexton convinced Mary Sexton to produce it. Well, after a sold-out show and rave reviews, Mother Mary couldn't be prouder.
For me, it's almost like, like you give birth to a youngster, and then you let the youngster give birth to their youngsters, and then he gives birth to his film, and it's like, oh goody, I can cut the cord now and he can pay the bills.
Well, now wait just a second. Isn't that what the producer does? Pay the bills?
Well, yeah, we always pay the bills, but it's a different when you do it with your son. It's like we had to have a little thing.
Do you get along like inherently, like? Or do you shift your relationship when you're on set now? How does that work?
We had to. He started calling me Mary. He never called me Mary in his entire life. He had to call me Mary, and then when he called the house phone, I was Mom, and then when he called my cell, I was Producer Mary. So it was very interesting to be able to divide it.
Right.
And I really wanted us to come through this. Normally with a director, I take over, and I do what I need to do as a producer to make sure that the project is where it's going.
Right.
And I knew that Nik had the stability, I knew he had the integrity, and I knew he knew what he was doing, but I wanted to make sure that he wasn't just going to rely on me. And you can never just rely on your producer. You have to rely on your own instincts.
Right.
And as a director, that's it. Make the decisions, get it done, and make a good film.
With over 190 films at this year's festival, taking home the Audience Choice Award for your first feature is huge. No doubt the victory made up for the mishaps along the way.
I hired a guy from California to come in and do the drone cameras.
Okay.
So like those little because I figured they're going to be banned in Canada at some point, because I think so I figured let's do it now before the laws are still kind of cool. And he came in from he asked me first, he said, oh, by the way, is it windy in Newfoundland? And his name is Robert McIntosh. If you ever watched this, Robert, then yes, he said, is it windy in Newfoundland? I said, no, it's just okay, right? It's pretty good. And he came in, and we actually lucked out. We had a really good couple days. And the first hour of shooting, he had the drone camera. He has these little goggles on, and I have the goggles on. He controls the.
And you can tell him what to do, like, oh, I want this, or how does that work?
What happens is the drone is flying, and he has a camera on the top, which he pilots the drone, and then the camera that we're shooting on is below it, and then I control the tilt of the camera. So that's how it kind of works.
It's a team effort, then.
It's a team effort, and we're both with ski goggles on the streets, looking like crazy people, like this, like we're playing a video game. And he flew across Gower Street, which is a sort of the colorful houses street, and we're picking up Donnie as he's flying on his mini bike, and we get the shot, and it comes back, and the thing drops like 60 feet to its death, on the ground, and I'm literally running over.
Are you insured for that?
Well, it's no one got hurt, and I run over to the chopper, and I'm literally there like a woman like whose son just got shot. I'm like no, like holding it, like screaming, and he comes over and he's like, I brought a second helicopter, so we're okay, and I was like, oh, okay, great. So
you can find our full interview with Nik Sexton on cnbc.com. In the house, Nik Sexton. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad that we finally, and this is a little behind the scenes for CNBC viewers, all day trying to get you, right? You're busy.
Yeah, I'm hard to get. Yeah, playing hard to get.
There you go. But you're in town, and tonight is the big night for this movie. Now, how long did it take to get, because a cult following, would that be fair?
Yeah, I guess it probably took about 5 years. It's about 5 years in the making. And we do have a strange, unique fan base, and they're the reason we're here right now. I mean, if we didn't have a big fan base, then this whole thing would never have happened. So yeah, I guess a cult following, I guess, would be fair to say. I mean, I hope it gets a cult following. Cult following is kind of cool, better than not a cult following,
Fans are good fans.
Fans are good fans, yeah. All fans are good.
Then, what was making it like? Because it's different than other films.
Yes, it is. It's much different than other films. We didn't want to make a regular kind of movie. First of all, we wanted to make a Newfoundland comedy because we always talked about how there's not many comedies made in Newfoundland, and everyone says that Newfoundlanders are the funniest people in the country. And it stars like Rick Mercer and Mark Critch. They're all the TV guys are from Newfoundland. Susan Kent and Mary Walsh. Right. So you always, and Kathy Jones, and there's all these big names and Cogco and all this sort of stuff. So we said, well, why isn't there every Newfoundland film I see is like, they're great, but they're usually dramatic and make you want to cry and stuff. So we really, that was the big goal, was to make a Newfoundland comedy. So that was our mission, I think. And I think that's why.
Was it fun to make?
Oh my God, it was really fun to make. It was actually really, really fun. Everybody that worked on the film actually really wanted to be a good film. Like, every day you get on set, and people wanted it to be fun. They wanted it to be funny. They wanted the film to succeed. I've been on a lot of sets where people are just treated like a job, like, I gotta go grab that cord, and and just not, and there was no attitudes on set, and no one brought this like, I'm holier than thou, and I'm the big director, and there's none of that. I mean, that stuff is kind of, I think, is starting to get washed out a bit. We
don't last long, right? You start to get
I think maybe in maybe in the States or maybe in Los Angeles you can pull that a bit if you have some backing. But I think when you're a place like Atlantic Canada, that you can't go around like this that you're Mr. Top Dog, and I just think it's kind of like I don't know. I think it's not very cool to sort of put people down when you're supposed to be a team and working together and make something creatively.
Well, I saw a lot of tweets of people happy to be a part of it and to be in the mix of the fun.
Yeah, and a lot of the actors we had, are pretty new actors as well. So I think that was really exciting for them as well. It wasn't like, oh, just another gig. So they sort of owned it as well. So I really enjoyed that. Everyone sort of felt like it was their film as much as it was mine, because that always, like, when you let someone else think that this is ours together and not, Donnie Dumphy's movie, then I think you appreciate a lot more. Yeah. Right.
Okay. Well, let's talk about this festival, because there's so many festivals in the world, yes. But there's something really special about the Atlantic Film Festival. What does it mean to you, Nik Sexton?
It means a great deal. I mean, first of all, to have it at Atlantic Film Festival is huge because it's, this film is very East Coast humor. Right. I don't know if they might get it in some other cities. They might not get the jokes because, as one guy said, maybe you should think about subtitling the movie. But I, everybody I've done.
The video's subtitled, right? Or did that happen? When did that happen? That subtitling?
That happened. We've come a long way from our subtitle stuff, but yeah, that happened. That happened in the early days of Donnie Dumphy. Like, he spoke very fast then. Right. But it's huge for it to be to premiere at. I was going to say the Atlantic Film Festival. It's huge for it to premiere at the Atlantic Film Festival because this is where people actually get it. You know what I mean? And I'm excited to see if people laugh. I mean, part of me gets nervous about because you have a joke set up and you go, oh, this is going to kill. Everyone's going to die laughing and then it just, there's nothing.
This is the world premiere. Is that fair? Like
this is the world premiere. Yeah. This is the world premiere.
How are you feeling now? Because this is it.
I feel like part of me, it's kind of happy, sad kind of. Some people have said, like, it's like opening and closing a business because you're so happy for it to be, to be shooting and to be doing it and be editing and making it happen. And then there's a sad thing which means that it's all going to come to an end very soon.
Or maybe not.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens, I guess.
And now, in terms of being a filmmaker in the Atlantic provinces, what's that like? Because you've been around it a while. It's your family. Yeah. So what's that like?
Oh my God! In Atlantic Canada, being from Atlantic Canada, or being a filmmaker in Atlantic.
Being a filmmaker in Atlantic Canada. Well, we know being from Atlantic Canada rocks.
It does. Yeah. It's definitely challenging, but at the same time, there's great people like the NFLDC really get behind their projects. Telefilm, Atlanta, Canada side, like, you know, those guys are really supportive and stuff. So if you know, having that kind of backing is huge. I feel like the big fish little pond thing really does apply if you're doing good things in Atlanta, Canada, like Christian Sparks and Jordan Canning and Deanne Foley. I mean, we're all here together doing this. I mean, I think that's, if you're in a bigger city like Toronto or New York or Los Angeles, I think it's a lot harder to get stuff off the ground.
Right.
Now, but at the same time, I sometimes have a hard time imagining not making a movie in Atlanta, Canada. You know what I mean? Like, I'd want to make my next film in Atlanta, Canada, because
What's your next film?
it's a I don't want to get too into it, but it's a film. It's called.
You're excited.
I'm excited. It's called
Yeah.
Skeet. It's actually not too much of a comedy. It's really kind of a dark film. Yeah. So. But I'm more focused on how to be deadly.
Well, and we need to celebrate this because it's a wonderful achievement, and the gang's getting together again, so there's that.
Yeah, everyone's flying up, so that's really exciting, and I'm sure everyone will be on best behavior.
Right.
And the film isn't. I think it starts at 10:20, so I'm sure some people might have a few drinks in them. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to interviewing Donnie. What's that like? Can you give me any questions? Anything I should be prepared for? Or
I don't know. What do you think?
heightened security? Or
No, he's pretty tame. He's
Yeah.
pretty mellow. He's a funny interviewer. You know,
Okay.
he'll give you some comedy. You know, I don't hold a flame to his comedy, but he's quick. He's very quick witty. I've seen him on radio interviews like with guys that are snappy, and he can hold his own. So
Right.
so he's a fun interview. Yeah, you'll have fun with him for sure.
Very good. Well,
Yeah.
I congratulate you on this film, and all the very best with Skeet, and I'll look forward to the updates on that. Right?
Skeet will. It's very dark. Yeah, it's very dark. It is. Yeah, but it's fun though. It's definitely
Are you good getting your head in that? Because you're like, I wonder about directors. Like, is that all you're thinking about now? Are you good? Can you separate?
Yeah, in a way. I mean, when I was finished.
Did you write it?
Yeah, I'm halfway through it. When I'm finished, when I'm editing Deadly, then I'm going home thinking about Skeet. You know what I mean?
Wow.
When I'm constantly what's gonna happen next, and
Yeah.
not like any sort of like this. Deadly's not good enough, but it's coming to an end. So what's the next move and stuff like that. And it's just about. I mean, if Skeet, nothing happens with it, then I'm totally fine. It's more. I just enjoy creating these stories that are odd subcultures. Like if you watch the Deadly film, it's not like. It's a different world we've set up. I mean, there's guys riding around on mini bikes in St. John's. You know what I mean? It's a whole world we sort of tried to create. So, and same with Skeet too. I enjoy those kind of unbelievable worlds. Yeah, yeah.
Very cool. It's a pleasure to have met you, Nick.
Thank you very much for having me.
I look forward to your next film.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Stephanie.